Welcome to Impact by Diffa Dallas, the official podcast of the Dallas chapter of the Design Industries Foundation Fighting AIDS. We'll share valuable info about the fight against HIV and AIDS, what our organization is doing to assist those in our community, and most importantly, how you can help us make a real impact.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning into this episode of Impact. I'm your host, Shane Allen. Valentine's Day is 2 weeks away. I'm writing myself a note. You should too. I'm kidding. I've planned ahead. Just kidding, husband watching. I've already planned for Valentine's Day, mostly. But it's a great time of year. Some of you are probably thinking about the romantic date that you're going to have. Some of you are going to think about just staying at home and eating chocolates by yourself and being anti-Valentine's Day. And both of those things are okay. There's this really cool project that happens every year, and I file it away into my why didn't I think of that file? Because I think it's beautiful and it's brilliant. It's from an organization called Visual AIDS, and it's called the Love Positive Women Project. And we actually have with us today Esther McGowan, who's the Executive Director of Visual AIDS, to talk to us about just that. Hello, Esther. Thanks for joining us.
You're welcome. Thanks for inviting me. Thank you so much, Shane.
So tell us first a little bit about Visual AIDS and what your organization does.
Sure. So Visual AIDS has been around since 1988. We were founded in New York. We're actually a national organization, but we're based in New York. It was started with kind of a twofold mission. One was to find all the ways that visual art, could be used in AIDS activism. And then we also have many programs supporting artists living with HIV, including a grant program that provides art making materials to artists living with HIV. We actually transitioned that this year to be an emergency cash grant because of COVID-19. But in the future, we imagine we will go back to an art making materials grant. And so we do a lot of different things. We're a very small organization. We only have a staff of 5, but we do a lot. We publish books. We have many, many public events. We have gallery exhibitions. We do a project called Day Without Art, for which in the past 10 or more years, we have commissioned artists to make new films. And all of those, many of those projects can actually be seen on our website, which is visualaids.org, but also on our Vimeo. We have a Vimeo account, Visual AIDS on Vimeo, and that's a great way to see a lot of our programs, including our Day Without Art films, if people are interested.
Operationally, very similar to the Design Industries Foundation Fighting AIDS. We're a national organization based in New York with chapters around the country, including in Dallas, and an all volunteer board. You know, we employ very few people and do a lot with those very few people. So I can certainly respect all the things that you all do. Let's talk about.
Just if I can just interrupt for 1 second, I would like to take a moment to thank Diffa, because Diffa has funded Visual AIDS. Diffa has not through this particular project we're going to talk about, but several design-based projects, something we do called PlaySmart, which is a condom pack that includes information on safer sex and educational information along with condoms, something we've been doing for many years. Diffa has funded that project, and also a series of comic books that we just commissioned in the last year that are using the really powerful and very democratic, egalitarian comic book form to share information about contemporary issues of HIV and AIDS, including HIV criminalization, the role of women living with HIV and activism. And so we thank Diffa, and we're a big fan of Diffa. So I just wanted to say that.
Well, we're honored. And you know, that's one of the great things about what we're able to do is not only fund direct care services for those people who need it, but also do things like that, like this podcast, to really talk about HIV AIDS and reduce that stigma that's surrounding it, because that stigma is such a problem with folks getting tested, with folks just talking about it, the way folks feel about other people. It's nonsense. Let's just talk about it. It's okay to talk about. Speaking of talking about things, so Valentine's Day, I can't go anywhere without just hearts and cupids at the stores whenever I'm like going really quick with my mask on to grab something. So talk to us about Love Positive Women. You all send Valentine's Day cards to women living with HIV.
Absolutely. And I want to first acknowledge the person who created this event. So Visual AIDS has taken it on in the last few years, but it was actually created by an amazing activist who's also a young woman living with HIV named Jessica Whitbread. And Jessica first came up with the idea for Love Positive Women, as you mentioned, because of the stigma that women face. Still to this day, women face far greater stigma than men around HIV and have far less community. So one of the ideas of Love Positive Women that Jessica had was to create a community of women with HIV around the world who could support each other. And there were multiple projects that Jessica came up with, including a pen pal and tea party idea where women would write to each other and basically find different ways to have tea together and get to know each other. And the idea of creating Valentines came out of that. And one of Jessica's ideas also is that Valentine's Day is just one day. Why don't we celebrate women living with HIV all the time, but make it a month also. So February is the month of Love Positive Women. So we don't just do it for one day. And so we are very close with Jessica. She's an artist member of Visual AIDS, and she appears in our archive. Her artwork is there, and we got to know her quite well and heard about this project and loved it and asked how we could become involved and maybe support. And we're able to create this annual project based in New York, but which is global, right, in which we invite artists to make Valentines. And it's a combination of well-known artists, emerging artists, and also women living with HIV in our community. We all get together and we make Valentines, and then we send them to women around the world living with HIV and with messages of love.
How many people generally do you get year to year on average requesting Valentine's cards?
Yeah, so in the past, in past years, it's ranged from about 500 to 800 different women around the world receive Valentines. We've sent them to as many, I think, as 40 countries some years, which is amazing. And we work with partners. So we have a couple of amazing partners in this. To make the Valentines, we partner with an organization called Do Dene, which is a handmade papermaking studio in New York. We actually make the Valentines literally from scratch. We make the paper, and then we make the artwork from the handmade paper. So what people receive in the mail are truly these original artworks that were handmade. And then we also partner with a great organization called the Fire Island Artist Residency, which is based here in New York and works particularly with queer and LGBTQ artists. And they help us to get a lot of the artists who participate to make Valentines and help us to also hold an exhibition that we do in New York each year after the Valentines are made. And then we have amazing partners in the HIV and AIDS world that help us to reach women living with HIV. So we work with the Wellness Project. We work with many organizations around the country and around the world, working specifically with women living with HIV. And that allows women to request Valentines in a way that is safe. Many women do not disclose their status because of the stigma, and depending on where they live in the world, the stigma is even worse than in the US, for example, but exists everywhere. So we create a safe system where women request Valentines and give us their address, and then we send it to them. So anyone who receives a Valentine from us knows they're going to receive it and is ready for it.
That's beautiful. Speaking of artwork, for those who are not listening to the podcast and who are watching on YouTube or on Facebook, I'm not a wallpaper guy, But that's some killer wallpaper you got behind you. I'm a big fan. Maybe I'm watching too many home decorating shows. I'm not sure. Esther,
I wasn't expecting to be on video, so I'm holding my phone up because it's the only way I could do the Skype. So
you look amazing for someone not expecting to be on video. Esther McGowan, thank you so much. The organization is Visual AIDS. The project is Love Positive Women. For more information on Visual AIDS, you can go to visualaids.org. And of course, for more information about DIFA Dallas, you can go to diffadallas.org. I'm Shane Allen. Thanks again for listening. Until next time.